perfect lead-in to our time of meditation. So I invite you to get things off of your lap and get those feet firmly planted on the floor and close your eyes if you're comfortable. We'd like to begin by taking some deep breaths in and out. Breathing in ease and breathing out anything that no longer serves you. This morning we're focusing on non-resistance, and so we're breathing in peace, breathing out anything that feels like resistance to you. Breathing into our heart space, feeling that love expanding there. And now as you bring into mind someone that maybe you've had a discord with, in your next breath, breathe in love and send that love to that one. Project your love from your heart out to any discord, any misunderstanding, and feel that peace. Allow your thoughts to be more of a generalized feeling of allowing your life to unfold with ease and grace. All things are of God, and everything that comes to us and goes from us is of God. And so whatever is showing up in your life, use that feeling of allowance and acceptance to know that you are the presence and the power of God in this moment. And you can just let go. Just let go and allow life to flow through you. When during your week pet peeves rear their ugly heads, I encourage you to let go and allow them just to be. No one can disturb the calm peace of your soul except you, if you allow it. So we choose now in this moment to feel that peace and that allowance, so that non-resistance is fully present in our beingness. Breathe that into your heart center. Feel like your body is a knotted rope that you've just untied all of those knots, and you are so relaxed now. No need to carry any frustration, worries. You just let go. You let the universe handle whatever is coming your way. In this consciousness, we recognize, accept, and affirm that God is all there is. Breathe and be at peace. And now we bring our attention back into this room. feeling that peace of God that passes all understanding in our souls and in our minds and in our hearts. We say thank you that this is so. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. And whenever you're ready, just open your beautiful eyes. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me and my wife, Marika. We're from Baltimore, but our heart is in Austin. And our heart is in Austin for at least 3 reasons. The first one is wonderful camaraderie of Miriam, good friend. And when I started out putting out a website, it was a hobby. It's just something I did. And a couple years in, I got a check in the mail. And it was made to Truth Unity, the name of the website. I didn't have an organization or anything. And so I set it aside. I didn't know what to do with it. And 3 months later, this is my first donation. 3 months later, Eileen Ramsey emails me and says, "Mark, would you deposit my check?" So that was the second blessing. And third blessing was Donna Laughlin, who invited me to an LUT day. It was a gathering of people who didn't know what they were doing. They just knew there was a tug in their heart. There was a calling. But there was a presence at Unity Church of the Hills. Donna Laughlin and Maria Gonzalez, the 2 LUTs. And what Donna gave in support, Maria gave in love. And here I am, can I say? In the summer, I was ordained, and Donna Laughlin gave me my Bible, which is what they do in Unity. She flew to Kansas City, gave me my Bible. So I would like to give Donna and you a Bible. Yeah. This is print number 8 of the, come on. This is print number 8 of the Fillmore Study Bible. 5 years in making, with a group of Unity ministers who came together. We went through Unity magazine, 70 years of Unity magazines, to find references to different verses. And so it's a study Bible, New Testament, but it's annotated by Charles Fillmore and his colleagues. So thank you, Donna. Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
The supply line is just opening. I will get you a copy sometime before June. Okay, it's a slow process, as you know. My talk is about the relation of positive emotions and the 12 powers. And it began when I flew to Chicago and interviewed an elderly Unity minister, well known to many people, by the name of Richard Billings. And he allowed me to video him. So I had the tape running, and I asked him, opening question is, Richard, who were your mentors? And he started off by saying, well, my mentor was Georgiana Tree West. Many of you will know her as the writer of Prosperity's 10 Commandments. She preceded Eric Butterworth in New York. And I'm going to tell you something, and even though it's being recorded, Eric Butterworth was intimidated by Georgiana Tree West's presence. And it takes somebody really special to intimidate a guy like Eric Butterworth, but it's true. She was bigger than life. And Richard said, here's what she did. He was a fashion designer. He didn't know what he wanted to do. And she looked at him and she said, Richard, is that really what you want? And he said at that moment, it elicited in him the first time an experience of deep desire. But it wasn't an ordinary desire. It was a desire that was spiritual. It was a desire that went so deep that it kind of pushed aside whatever hesitations that was there. Desire is an emotion, but true desire is a perfect emotion. It's the siren of God. It's what Emily Cady called the tugging of our heart. So that's when I began to understand that there's something about emotions that is tied to our beliefs. And I've pursued that. What I'm going to share with you is my personal prosperity plan. This is what I do. It's not taught in Unity. It's my thing. But all I can say is it works. Okay? And I stand by it. And so we all know that we have a subconscious mind and a conscious mind. And the physicians tell us we have a reptilian brain, a mammalian brain, and then a rational brain. And the one actually incorporates the other. That's the way we're built. First we were reptiles, then we were mammals, then we were Homo sapiens. And the key to this whole talk, the key to prosperity, is getting the mammalian brain lined up with the cognitive brain. All of us have beliefs. All of us have emotions. The problem is not our emotions, it's not our beliefs, it's the disconnect between our emotions and our thoughts. We all have that perfect power of the hind's feet. And I'll explain why in a minute. But the key to this talk, the key to prosperity, the key to everything we do is alignment of our emotional life and our cognitive life, of what we affirm in our heart and what we say in our mind. And I want to highlight 3 women. I will at the end of this talk. I'll tell you who they are. Let me tell you who they are now. There's Frances Folks was the editor of Myrtle Fillmore's papers. And she wrote a book called Effectual Prayer, which for the bulk of Unity's history has been our basic textbook of prayer. And there were 6 stages that she talked about in prayer: preparation, relaxation, concentration, meditation, realization, and gratitude. 6 steps. There's another woman named Catherine Ponder who wrote by far Unity's most best-selling book on prosperity. And it opens with 6 chapters. The basic law of prosperity, the vacuum law of prosperity, the creative law of prosperity, the command law of prosperity, the prosperity law of command, and the prosperity law of love and gratitude. 6 stages. Catherine Ponder said the same thing that Frances Folks said. When we get ourselves aligned with God, then we are prosperous. And then along comes Cora Fillmore, Charles Fillmore's second wife, she was the editor of Charles Fillmore's papers. 3 women. This is Women's History Month, right? Yeah. And Cora Fillmore edited the 12 Powers. And she wrote her own meditations on the 12 Powers. And it just so happens when you study the 12 Powers, for those of you who have studied it and those of you who will study it, you'll notice that they seem to be paired. And it just so happens that there's 6 pairs. And those 6 pairs perfectly align with the teachings of Catherine Ponder and the teachings of Frances Folks. And I bring this up because in life, when we begin to see scientists declare the same truth, when we seem to see explorers come back and tell the same story, it seems to be there's something there. This is not somebody making it up. It is something there, and there is something there, which is the message of my talk. So the hind's feet, as explained to me, the reason that the deer can go up in the mountains and stay on the rocks is because the front feet, the rear feet land at the same place the front feet land. And animals that can't do that can't climb. But the key is the alignment of the rear feet with the front feet. The hind feet match the front feet. They're in perfect alignment. And it's that alignment that allows them to do divine things. And when we get our subconscious mind lined up with our conscious mind, when we get our feelings lined up with our beliefs, and when our beliefs and our feelings are lined up with God, then we are prosperous and powerful. It's all about alignment. So as you read the 12 powers, as you read effectual prayer, as you read the first 6 chapters of dynamic laws of prosperity, look for that congruency and ask yourself each step of the way, am I aligned? Okay? So it begins with the basic law of prosperity, according to Catherine Ponder. And preparation, in green down at the bottom, preparation is what it begins with Francis Folks. And there are 2 powers. There's the power of strength in our lower back, and there's the power of order in our front belly. Anybody notice that? Do you ever think that they might be related? That there might be an axis from our back to our front? Is it possible that they are related? And when they are aligned, then we have body balance. We have balance in our life. Then we begin to get powerful. And what Catherine Ponder makes the most amazing statement, it just blew me away when I saw it. And she doesn't even stress it, but it's there. She says it's not the law of attraction. It's not what we think that makes us prosperous. It's the law of radiation and attraction. It's what we radiate that attracts. All of us are radiating each moment of the day, every person that we see, with our body language and our facial expressions. The comments we make are radiating either love or not love. Prosperity begins with an alignment in ourselves that provides the emotion of stillness and the emotion of joy. And what do we do at Christmas time? What do we sing about? Stille Nacht, Silent Night. And what is our favorite song? Joy to the World. It all begins with joy and stillness. When we have joy and stillness, we are in a Christmas mentality in which we are radiating the joy that we all feel at the Christmas season. We can have Christmas every day of the year if we will allow joy and order, strength and order to be in alignment in our life. Thank you, Catherine Ponder. That insight has saved me so many times. Catherine Ponder's second law of prosperity is called the vacuum law. And Francis Folks' second law of effectual prayer is relaxation. After we have achieved balance, the next step is to relax the body, to relax the soul, to relax our lives. Donna referred to it earlier as non-resistance. And there are 2 strengths, or two powers there. One is renunciation and the other one is life. And without being too graphic, I mean, it's in our nether areas of life. It's the area where we relieve and the area where we procreate. And what do we do when we prune a plant? What do? We clip it. And what happens to the plant? It grows. There's life. There's this relationship between pruning and life, renunciation and growth. And the great affirmation of renunciation is I let go and I let God. We let go. But there's another affirmation. Came from Max, the guy who wrote the Desiderata, Max I forget, you remember the Desiderata we all had? Yeah. His famous line, we have a right to be here. Pride is the feeling of life. When we are alive, we feel pride. We know that we are called to some greater good, to some greater service. And we declare to the world, I have a right to be here. And there's so many people who think, no, I'm not sure I have a right to be here. We do. That's the unity message. It's the message from Francis Folks, Cora Fillmore, and Catherine Ponder. The next law is the creative law of prosperity, the creative law. So after we have found balance, after we have relaxed, something amazing begins to happen. We begin to get emerging new ideas. Things come to us from unknown regions. And there are two powers there. One is called will, and the other one is called understanding. And Francis Folks says this is the time of concentration. We have relaxed, now we are concentrating. But what happens in this stage of our development, in this stage of our prosperous growth, we begin to have a sense that something is calling to us from which we do not know. Emerson called it an intuition. Charles Fillmore called it going to the headquarters. Myrtle Fillmore called it the still small voice. But we don't get to that stage where the divine ideas emerge until we have found balance and we have relaxed. This is the third step. And it is the step of concentration. And when that begins to happen, we have people like me going to Donna Laughlin saying, you know, I think I might want to be a minister. Long before I shared it with my wife. You know, yes. Okay. It's when that tugging of the heart happens, when desire comes, true desire. This is the desire that comes from God. Third step. And the point is, desire triggers the will. Awe is the feeling that we get with spiritual understanding. We say, that's awesome. But awe is the emotion that triggers the understanding. So by doing this, we align our subconscious mind with our conscious mind. We align our feelings with our thoughts. That is the third stage, the third step of prosperity. Now, the fourth stage of prosperity is when it expands. Because in that alignment, in that new perception that maybe I want to be a minister, I don't have a clue what that means. And my thoughts are small, my thoughts are limited. Me? But it's interesting with the next two powers, we have faith and we have imagination. And they're both located in the same area of our brain, spiritually. And the feeling of faith is hope. Faith is that spiritual capacity to reach out into the upper dimensions and to see things that we can't see in ordinary life, and therefore we are hopeful. Because other than that, we are hopeless. Or when we are hopeless, what do? We go to faith, because faith allows us to see things that we can't see in ordinary times. And then we have imagination, and the feeling that goes with that is clarity. Being able to see with clarity what it is we're talking about, where we're going. Those are the dreams. Martin Luther King had a dream. And he gave what is commonly referred to as the greatest speech of the 20th century on the Mall in Washington, D.C. And the talk was going nowhere until Mahalia Jackson heckled him and said, Martin, talk about the dream. And then he threw away his notes and he went on talking about, I have a dream. But what he did is he gave clarity to the American or North American public that we can do better. He didn't criticize, condemn, or complain. He gave clarity to a possibility that we had not previously seen. And we do that the same when we go into this fourth stage. And this fourth stage is done through meditation, according to Francis Folks. Clarity brings out the imagination. It shows us what it looks like. Faith says, okay, you had this crazy idea, Mark, you want to be a minister, but what is the best thing that could really happen? You see, faith is expansive. What's going on here is we are going from an idea in the third stage to an expansive idea in the fourth stage that we did not know was possible. Fourth stage of prosperity. And then, after we have begun to got a sense of, boy, there's something going on here, we come into what Catherine Ponder calls the prosperity law of command. And there's two other faculties that we typically associate. They're located in the same area. One is enthusiasm or zeal, and the emotion that goes with it is enthusiasm. And the other one is power or mastery. We feel we've got power, and that is our power of our word. And they go together because it is only when we begin to speak the truth through affirmations and declarations that we begin to realize, quote unquote, realize this new prosperity in our life. And without the acclamation, without the command, without speaking the word, it remains festered inside us as a hopeful dream, but not a reality. Francis Folk called this realization, and we can get ourselves in that mode by saying things that elicit an emotion that drives the power. And one of which is from a guy named Charles Fillmore, who said at 93 years old, I fairly sizzle with enthusiasm to do that which I am called to do. And I invite each of you to read more about it in the postcard and to put, if you have a planner or something like that, or put it on your kitchen, your refrigerator magnet. Enthusiasm will carry us a long way. Just think about it. Enthusiasm, as you know, is in the back of the neck. What's coming out of the mouth? The words, what's coming out of the mouth? Are they the words that are coming through us through enthusiasm? Enthusiasm is our purpose. We are enthusiastic because we have an understanding that I have a purpose. And when we speak that purpose, we are powerful, beyond measure. The key is aligning what we speak with what is our purpose. And we all too often are hesitant to speak the truth that is coming to us. We're all too hesitant to realize that which we have worked so hard to concentrate and to meditate on. And then the sixth stage, is what Catherine Ponder calls the prosperity law of increase. And here we shift from a focus on me to a focus on others. And until we go there, until we achieve that, we are not reaching a state that God has called us to, a state of perfection where we have an open heart, where we see others as people, not as object, not as ways to get our needs met. When we can, like Eric Butterworth and Frank Whitney, say, I behold the Christ in you. Eric Butterworth said, my job is not to set the world right. My job is to see the world right. And his aspiration was that everyone he would meet, everyone he would engage with, would know that he saw them in their perfection. And that is the sixth stage of prosperous living. And Catherine Ponder, again, when you read her book, she says, if somebody owes you money, you wish, don't you really wish they were prosperous enough to pay you? And if that is the case, why don't you bless them? But why is it that we go around with grudges against people who won't pay us? And she goes on and on about bill collectors who began a prayer ministry to see the poor people rising out of poverty and going into prosperity. And we can be people who see others as people, who are blessings. And the next two powers are love and gratitude. And what gratitude is, or judgment is the next power. The emotion that goes with it is gratitude. And the reason is when I find that which is truly mine, not yours, it is mine, I am grateful. And judgment is all about discerning that which is mine and which I need and what I need to let go. So the feeling that goes with judgment is actually gratitude. And what Catherine Ponder is telling us to do is to be a blessing to people who have offended us, who have shortchanged us. And at that point, we have achieved a state of perfection. We have achieved a state that we did not know was possible. That is what these three women have taught us. So I am grateful. I had these out of order, but from the right to the left, we have Francis Folks, who edited Myrtle Fillmore's papers and wrote Effectual Prayer. We have Cora Fillmore, Charles' second wife, who edited his papers and produced many books, but a textbook of the 12 powers of man. And we have Catherine Ponder, who's still living in Palm Desert, who wrote The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. So Unity is a women-led organization, regardless of what we think. Our spiritual leaders are much deeper. I want to close with just a little bit about what it is that I do at Truth Unity. I wrote a book called Credo of a Metaphysical Christian, and I've given a few copies to here, I think 5. But if you'll just go to Truth Unity and go /credo, you'll see a form there where you can fill it out, and I'll send you a copy. My belief is that unity is a historic Christian tradition with irregular beliefs. What it means is we are Christian, but we have unhealthy boundaries. Okay, we let anybody in and keep them in regardless of belief, regardless of, personal lifestyle, and, everybody's in unity. But it's Christian. But it's Christian at heart. That doesn't mean you have to be Christian to be in unity. Perhaps most aren't. But Christians are welcome. And they're welcome to be Christians in unity. So let me know if you'd like a copy, and thank you so much. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I think I unconnected.
That's fine. I'm going to go sit next to Dick.
I knew you were going to enjoy this day today. I'm so glad you are here to be a part of this. Now is our time when we get to give into our good of our ministry and bless it. So whether you're here in the sanctuary or if you've already given through the website or if you're on PayPal, whatever you're doing, we bless these tithes together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, that this is so.